practicing for a month. Oh, wait a second. I messed it up. Wait a second. There it is. 2 notes. The only notes you need for the worst show in the universe. Hello, everyone. I'm Nathan Barnett, a former gravedigger from old New England, and I'm back in old New England in a haunted house. I will play this squeeze box for 2 hours until the ghosts show up and tell me to shut up. This is very fun. Okay, I'm bothering myself now. I will put this down and read some spooky, true stories from New England to you. I don't know if I can look at the live chat. My assistant is trying to help me here, but it doesn't seem to be working out. I don't... Okay, let me try to reload this. Hang on a second. See what the heck you guys are talking about. That's me talking. Pause it. I cannot see the chat, but I can hear myself. So if I have to read the chat, hello all 77 of you, thank you for watching. I do not need this spirit. I will read the chat over here. So hello everyone, I want to come and say hello to you. I am working on a minimal budget and a minuscule crew. Thank you, Sleek, for that $5. I need a lot more equipment. If anyone wants to fund this show, please drop $1 and I will come and say hello to you and thank you for 82 people in here. That's more than I thought there was going to be in here. Hello, everyone. Hello, Brian, Master Zombie, DJ Oka, Tom Flaherty. The more accurate title is Children's Scary Stories from a Former Grocery Bagger at Whole Foods. Yes, that's not untrue. But also what isn't untrue is I did not steal this from Chappie, Fart Doctor. This is Nathan's original show, and I handed it off to Chappie, and he did not take it. He didn't do it, so I'm taking my show back. From my old haunted house where I grew up. This is the house I grew up in, and my parents have decorated to mortify me. Apparently, the person in this painting over here is one of my relatives. It's my great-grandfather. And then this lady is my great-great-grandmother, and that's my great-great-grandfather. And they are haunting me every day. They are from England and Canada. And this is the haunted house I grew up in. And it's very scary in here. So, I'm doing my show once again since the spooky season has begun. Hello, Wither. Hello, First Last. Tom says, can't wait to steal this show from Nathan. Good luck. You can take it. What do I care? Nobody watches it anyway. Thank you, Nathan Moore. Dig new set. Ben, wow, keep up great work. Thank you very much. EVE. Any doorknob hijinks? Not yet. But I'll tell you what. I'm staying in that haunted room that the doorknob jiggled in. I know after this, I can maybe give you a little tour of the house. And I can show you the haunted room that I'm staying in. So, the bed is made. My spirit assistant wants to make sure the bed is made. Hello, I'm Mike Lombardo. Yes, there's 81 people watching. That's more people that have ever looked at this channel in the past 2 years. So thank you for being here. All 371,000 of you must have drowned, and you all have ghost stories about yourselves. But these 87 are remaining. Thank you for being here. Hello, Alligator Skull, AJ Lewis. So, unfortunately, my budget is very limited in this house built in 1864. So, I'm down to one camera and I cannot look at the chat because everyone who has a phone in this house, the phone apparently was, the iPhones were made in 1864 as well, and they cannot display the live chat. So, I will leave the chat now. I'm checking on you. 91 people watching now. Thank you, 91 people. 93. If all 93 people are watching right now and give it a thumbs up, maybe this thing could start trending in a spooky spirit uh, entertainment section. Oh my goodness. Amy gave £5. Thanks for doing this, Nathan. My sort of vibe. Tom couldn't hope to have this kind of setup. I know, right? Well, this set here cost my spirit assistant. Oh my gosh. Nathan Moore just gave 50 Canadian dollars. Are you serious? Holy crap. Nathan Moore, you champion player. I cannot thank you. 101 people. Well, maybe my spooky spirit assistant can read the chat. Do you want to read the chat? They'll hear your voice, spirit assistant. Oh, that's your voice is scary when you whisper. So if you want to whisper, okay, maybe my spooky spirit assistant can sit behind the camera and can SSBSTS. That's what I'm talking about. Troy is filming. Hello. Well, here I'll give you a little tour of the room in here. This is where we're sitting, and it's haunted. 100% guaranteed haunted. There's a piano, a haunted piano, and there's a haunted chimney and haunted candles. And there's a million haunted clocks in this house. A million. No joke, a million. 19 haunted clocks in here. And then we come over here, and there's the front door. See that round thing in the middle? You twist it. It's the doorknob that you wind up. And it runs out. And over here we have drapes, spooky drapes. We have, they're wonderful drapes, my spirit assistant is telling me. And we have this chair that I'm currently sitting in, and this lamp. And out there's a porch. And here's another clock. What a surprise. And then what was that? Oh, more clocks. So that's where I'm conducting this show from this spooky parlor, not a living room. It's according to my spooky assistant, it's a parlor. But I pronounce words the correct way, and I say parlor, and my spooky spirit assistant says, "What are you doing in the parlor?" Not the living room, it's the parlor. I worked hard on that parlor to restore it to its original state of 1864. So you saw a ghost in the mirror? Narcoleptic? Are you serious? Oh, gosh. 114 people watching. If everyone watching gives a thumbs up, it would truly help me. Please, let's see if we can get over 100 likes on this thing. Okay. And give my spooky spirit assistant $10. Give her, everyone donate $1, and then she'll have $114. She wants me to be paying her for using her beautiful set here. So I don't have any cash. What is she talking about? She knows me. All right, let's start reading. Oh, Lou gave $2. Okay, I was just joking. You don't have to actually do that, but thank you, Lou. Great spirit decorations. Great. This set, how much did this set you back? $169,000 if you want a set like this. And 20 years of your life. 22 years of your life if you want this set. So, Tom, start working now. That tinfoil, what'd that cost you? $4? All right, I gotta read this stuff. And my spooky spirit assistant will read the chat. If you ever see any colors pop up, those are the donations.
Okay.
If you see any interesting comments, let me know. If
California?
you see any swears, ignore them.
Yeah.
She doesn't have the eyes to deal with seeing such vulgar words, so please be polite.
California, $50. Is that the other one?
That's Canadian.
Okay.
Maybe we can get a little serenade from the other spirit in the house who knows how to play this mechanism. I can actually teach him a few things too. You want to hear my song? $10 for the spooky spirit. $10 donation. Thank you very much. Let me put this down over here.
He wants you to play music.
And I'll just Just leave it here
Wiley's leaving.
alone.
Sit down.
So it doesn't make any noise anymore.
$2, baby.
Wow, thank you for the $2. Whoever donated.
No borrow, Orion.
You know your name. We can all see you. And the spooky spirit can see your name too.
Thomas Boone. Concertinas are hard to play.
Is that a concertina? Concertina?
Yes. Come in.
Why is that playing? I just put it down. This house is haunted.
Can they hear that?
Watch the table, spooky spirit. It moves the camera. Goes, this is why the house is haunted. Everything's moving around. Do you hear that?
Can they? I don't know. Can they hear it? Top end production.
Wow.
Thomas.
So we got, hey,
Thomas,
spooky
Thomas.
spirit. You know any spooky songs?
Stop it, Tom. They think it's Dad. They know Dad.
Sounds like a jig for a spooky spirit ghost. The spirit in this house has been known to play many squeezable instruments,
It's
like
Tom,
the
don't-
bagpipes.
Tom donated $1 million.
Tom donated $1 million.
Such a liar.
You're lying. We would see that. I don't think that's even possible on YouTube. All right. I got my spooky cup. We like to have our spooky cups. And this is the spookiest cup I could find.
Nathan on Patreon. Keep playing. He wants you to play.
That's good enough.
Okay.
We can maybe hear another song later as we tour the house. Maybe we can hear a little piano tune later. It's a very noisy house with the ticking of the clocks and the squeezing of the blocks. All right.
That's a poem.
So the first story, I have not read this book. I don't know if it's going to be scary or not, but it's called Spooky New England. Amy and some other people in the chat are from original England. So you'll have to tell us if you think New England is as spooky as your place. This book is called Spooky New England, Tales of Hauntings, Strange Happenings, and Other Local Lore. I'll show you the book so you can see the spooky cover. It's got a guy on a horse with bug eyes. Oh, this is a woodcut? Is this like when you carve things out of wood?
No, they carve it out of wood.
Oh my gosh, Michael Nabarro, $5 to cover Tom since, oh, you're talking about Tom, my friend Tom, when they say Tom. Tom Flaherty, who's from the town next door to this spooky town. Tom, cover since his computer is broken. To cover Tom since his computer is broken. Okay, well, thank you for helping Tom, but I'm not giving him that $5. Spooky ghost assistant. Just make sure you don't jiggle the table too much. Oh my gosh, Sleek. Mama's got a squeeze box. No, it's a spirit. It's only ghosts in this house. Thank you for watching, 124 of you. 91 thumbs up. 9 more and we hit 100. If you're watching, please give it a thumbs up. Thanks a lot. This is the book. Here we go.
Oh, 124. That's how many people.
We've earned $75 on this. So if anyone can tell us what 70% of 75 is, that's what I walk away with. And I can maybe buy some hot apple cider. Well, apple cider make it hot. One of my plans while being in New England is to get actual apple cider. There's no one whispering. The house, you can see the table jiggles a lot because the house is haunted, and you're probably hearing the whispering of the spirits. Because I'm no joke. You've all heard my You want a spirit's coming out right now. So, well, there it goes. Yep, the house is. My fart rumbled the table. Okay, I think this shaking may stop. May possibly. What's happening? The camera's moving. Why is the camera? What are you doing, Spirit? Spirit is going to choke on her own spit and laughter. She's going to wear her pants. Whenever she laughs too hard, she wets her pants. Spirit is always causing a mess in this house. Oh, there it is. Maybe the Spirit will sing an Irish song for us. Oh, no, the Spirit doesn't want to do that. The Spirit is a known Irish singer. The squeeze box Spirit and the singer Spirit often go out to Irish pubs and make all kinds of racket. $50. Shut up. No.
Nathan Moore.
Oh my gosh, Nathan Moore did it again. Canadian, here goes to getting some new gear, mate. Hope it helps. You froze my phone. The spirit, Nathan Moore, the spirit haunted and froze my phone. What happened, Mom? I mean, spirit. What's going on here?
It says the spirit has bronchitis.
This is not. Spirit does have bronchitis. Spirit has a mental problem. Okay.
He's getting more money because I'm here.
My mom and my ghost in this house. $5. Pip, oh my gosh, Miss Graves Doors loved the addition to Spooky Assistant. So Spooky Assistant is really a treasure.
125. It says.
Oh my gosh, we've made $113. Okay, that's people's spirit. The ghost doesn't understand technology. The ghost is an old spirit, very old spirit. That's links to donate directly to me.
Oh,
and YouTube doesn't take a percent.
Oh,
Because the colors
so you
that we
got two
see,
of those.
when we see the colors, I only get 70% of those numbers. Just
The table's rocking because
Ghost.
lean on. We just are.
if you kind of lean on it, just stay leaning,
All right.
and then it will stay
Well,
where
I
it is.
can't help it.
Ghost is all moving around. The ghost has more energy than me, if you can imagine that. That's why this house is so haunted.
Ooh.
Told you. Hear that? Ooh, that's a ghost ooh right there. All right. Yeah, let's start reading this book. Provincetown. This one's in Provincetown. Ooh, cool. This is a Cape Cod town.
Somebody on here is crying.
Oh my god. You should see the spirit. The spirit's literally laying in its pants and crying and it's covering his face and it's trying as hard as it can. The spirit needs its own reality TV show, and I've been saying it for years. The other spirit's rolling its eyes over here with the squeeze box.
You put my cap on.
Alright. Gotta read one story. Otherwise it's not, the title is deceiving and it's not spooky stories. It's just dealing with an old ghost for an hour. This story is called The Tell-Tale Seaweed, and it takes place in Provincetown, Massachusetts. And I'll tell you a fact about Massachusetts. Thank you for the $2, everyone. I will read all the donations. The spirit sees all the donations, and the spirit will tell me after. And the spirit is losing its mind every time there's a donation. So at least know someone is acknowledging the donations, even though I'm not seeing it. This is Massachusetts. It's shaped like my infinitely strong arm. And Cape Cod is right here. The tip of Massachusetts, the last town in Massachusetts, is called Provincetown. It's a town we like to go to. It's down by the beach. It's an old sailor, spooky town. It's really cool in the summer. There's tons of people from other countries there.
Sam
I love it.
Sam wants the spirit full time.
The spirit full time. I don't know if I'm gonna have a heart attack. Oh my God. Are you farting? Or are you laughing? Your mouth sounds like farts. Spirit.
I can't read it because I'm crying.
Alright, it's time to read the book. So, this is my perfect. So I'll tell you a little thing. I can't get to the point of the story because I talk too much. I have too many thoughts in my head. My next character that I do after I start the UFO series.
I love Ghost Mom.
It's a ghost. It's a spirit. It's my mom. It's a ghost spirit. That's all it is. It's a real ghost in this house. This is what it's like having living in a haunted house. So, my next character after I start the UFO series, I'm already working on my next thing, and I shouldn't, but I am.
Oh,
My next character is going to be a sailor, an old-time sailor, because I like old-time sailors and sea guys, seamans. So,
it's Ghost Mom.
this is very exciting for me, a story that has to do with the sea in Provincetown. My dad's a sailor man. My dad's fixing an old
$2
boat.
more.
What?
$2 more.
Oh, thank you for the $2. Thank you very much. What year is the ship outside? Spirit. What year is the ship outside?
Oh. One.
The spirit is telling me each number individually.
Be
to
quiet.
She's be quiet or she's saying more words.
9.
1969? Oh, really? That new?
No, that's wrong.
Spirit doesn't have her information correct. It's an old boat that is being repaired. 18? 19? Oh, 1959 is the year of the old boat. I thought it was much older than that.
60 years old.
The boat's 60 years old, and it's being worked on. My father is a sea spirit who loves the ocean. Okay, so
Tom Flaherty, if everyone donates $1, Mom's Nathan's mom will read the story.
Oh, if everyone did donate $1, maybe the spirit would read a story, and the spirit will wet her pants on camera. Because she won't be able to handle herself on camera.
I'm so fun.
All right, starting the story. This is called the Tell-Tale Seaweed. How many pages is this? Am I even gonna make it through this one?
It's not that big. No, it's not.
It was got a picture too.
Yeah.
Who is that picture coming up? I'll show you the picture. Thank you for the $2. Okay, this story is about 6 pages
For
long.
Nathan's mom's content.
Thank you. My mother will show up at some point, probably, I'm sure. If the spirits stop haunting the room, maybe she'll show up. My mom and dad are afraid of the ghosts, so they're not in here right
Ghost
now.
mom, it says.
Ghost spirit lady loves haunting me when I try to come in this parlor. Here we go. You know, for someone who's a historian and loves original things and the true titles of what they are, they can't even say what it's actually called.
$2 more.
It's called the Parlor. O-R.
Tom Flair, $2 more.
Oh my gosh. Thank you everyone for donating. This is a very exciting night.
Take over the show.
Thank you. I haven't even read one word of the story and they already want me off. Already kicking me off. If you hear any pigs, it's my mom snorting. I mean, the spirit snorting at her own jokes.
$10. $10.
Oh my gosh. I can't start if you guys keep giving money.
Listen to me. Spooky moms make me laugh so hard.
Thank you for enjoying the haunted spirit of the house. Tell you what, it wasn't so funny when I was in high school when the spirit was haunting the house. It was truly horrifying.
£10 England.
Oh my gosh, £10 England I think is more than
Yeah,
$10 here.
Oh, Canada, $20 more.
Oh
10 more bucks. Oh my God, $10 more.
Losing their mind, you guys. For real.
Oh, hold on.
My mother in there. I mean, the spirit of this house.
Nathan.
Who's
Nathan
the old
Moore. Nathan Moore. Drag.
No.
Oh, Anki.
$10, Dragon. Thank you, Dragon.
And
If you tap the arrow, it goes back
Okay.
down to Tom.
Tom,
What are you doing? You got no money. Save. Hey, you gotta pay me rent, Tom. Don't dump your money in here.
give Nathan.
This doesn't count as your rent,
Let
Tom.
Ghost Mother read to us. Who's the fart?
Ghost Mother at some point if you're good. Ooh, 123 people in all 123 likes. That's actually pretty cool.
65.
75% of 165 is what we've earned.
Give me my phone.
So if anyone in the chat, they can tell us. They can tell us pretty quick
Yeah,
what
tell
70% of 165 is or whatever the amount is. Also, if there have been direct donations to me, I will see them after. If you have made a direct donation, say it in the chat so the chat can tell the spirit and the spirit can tell me. So if anyone's done a direct donation, which the link is in the description, I get 100% of that. So.
I love your mother. All hearts.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'll tell you this. I told my mother, maybe the spirits will go tell my mother.
$10.
Oh my gosh, $10. It's not stopping. It's just expect it to keep happening. I gotta keep doing the stories. So thank you everyone
$5.
for your.
CC Games.
She's losing her mind.
Direct.
My mom, my spirit has never seen. The spirit grew up in the 1800s, 1838. Its favorite year. Old Sturbridge Village was its favorite year, as far as I know.
This is the best thing
So,
I see all week. I'm sitting in the chair laughing.
I told my mother a year ago that she should say, I was in California, I remember the phone call, I was in front of CBS in LA.
We now know where Nathan gets it.
I told my mother that she should do, because she loves ghost stories, has a super spooky house that I'm sitting in, so that she should sit in this chair and she should read stories and she would have a huge audience and she goes, oh, wow, no. And she liked the idea, but she didn't do it. So maybe after this episode, my mother, wherever she is in this house, maybe the spirit will tell her that she can take over
No need
and
to
do
read.
her own version
No need. This is too funny.
in this.
Duh.
I haven't even read a story yet.
I want. Dude, everyone wants what?
You will see if my mother agrees.
Bring her. No.
We will get her and we'll tell her to read a story. My mother also, I should tell you a fact, dresses up as a horrifying witch every Halloween and scares children for hours that come to the house. They have to walk deep into the house into a mist cloud. None of them want to do it. They all start crying. And the brave ones will walk up and grab Katie from her and run away. She sits in the corner with a huge nose and she's like,
It's putty.
my parents love scaring children. My dad scares children just by walking around with his enormous mustache. So they are very into Halloween.
1:30.
And they very much like decorating and old-timey things, as you can see in this house. So maybe at some point I can convince her to do stories on her own channel, and I will post it and promote it and tell everyone where to do it. She's wetting her pants. The spirit has to leave. So I won't see the chat for a minute. Don't worry about it. Thank you for the $10. Dragon, thank you for the $10. The spirit is currently using the human facilities, and we won't see the chat for a moment, so pause if you want. And this is a perfect time for me to read a story. Let's take a break from the mayhem. Thank you for being here, everybody. I really appreciate it. I'm terrified even being in this house. I sleep uneasy every time I come over here because this, all jokes aside, actual scary things did happen to me in this house all through high school and my whole family. The doorknob story happened right above your heads right now in the room right over there. Tons of stuff happened in this house. Let's read a story now. Here we go. This is called The Tell-Tale Seaweed from Provincetown, Massachusetts. This is based on a true story. And someone wrote it all, poetically and story-like, but it's a true story. The rain was beating down on the windshield so hard that Elizabeth could hardly see the narrow Cape Cod road on which she was driving. It was nearly midnight. After spending the day sightseeing in Provincetown, she and her sister Patricia had joined acquaintances in the area for a leisurely dinner. It was after 10 before they started back to the inn where they were spending their vacation. The storm had blown inland a few minutes after they'd left the restaurant. The headlights were almost useless against the stormy darkness. A gust of wind made the old Ford shake violently. A flash of lightning briefly lit up the scraggly, so much gas in my face, briefly lit up the scraggly trees growing close to the road. The crash of thunder was immediately followed, it's really hard for me to read, we all know this, and I haven't done this in a while. The crash of thunder that immediately followed made Elizabeth jump. Maybe we should pull over until the storm lets up, suggested her sister nervously. Elizabeth glanced over, but all she could see of her petite brunette sister was her silhouette.
They can't hear. Can I move closer?
Oh, you want to move closer?
They can't hear.
You guys can't hear, really?
Is it
I was already talking to you at the same volume. Here, I can move this whole thing like this. We're not gonna see the full set during the story, but we can give a tour of the house later, and you can see more. All right, it's gonna be a little dim, but that's what's spooky. They can hear. Thank you for donating on Streamlabs, Mariana. Thank you very much. This is not scary in the least, and I love it. It's horrifying. The production value is horrifying. And the coordination and the communication is horrifying. That's what's so scary about it. And I was a real gravedigger. If the new people who are here didn't know, I was a gravedigger about 30 minutes from here in Natick, Massachusetts, where I buried many old souls. There is the haunting again, shaking the camera. The creaks, the horrifying creaks. Let's continue. I'm not even done with the first page.
Can't see the clock, though.
We don't need to see the clock, Spirit. You just need to see me. Spirit really wants you to see the clock. Okay, here we go. They were driving along a particularly desolate part of the road. The trees were thick, right up to the pavement. The rain in the dim headlights made everything seem spooky. I'd rather wait until we reached someplace more populated, Elizabeth said. At that moment, the engine gave a violent knocking sound. And this is a true story, remember? It's just read dramatically, spiced up, but it's based on a true story about these two women in Provincetown. Thank you for that $10. The spirit sees you and appreciates you. This is Dragon again. Thank you so much. It's very, very, very nice of you. Thank you for supporting the least popular show on YouTube. We made $195. 70% of $195 is what we have earned. Thank you, everybody. I must read the story. I will talk to everyone after this is done in about 5 minutes. I thank you for the $2. I don't have to address all of them. Otherwise, the show doesn't happen. Thank you, everyone. At that moment, the engine gave a violent knocking sound. The car shook with something more than the wind, and then stalled right in the middle of the road. Please say we didn't just break down, said Patricia. Elizabeth tried to restart the car several times, but the engine wouldn't turn over. We're stuck, Patricia answered herself. What are we going to do? We'll have to find a house and a phone somewhere. Find a phone, someone to give us a tow. I can't read, said her sister. Do you want me to wait with the car? Patricia asked in the scared voice. Then the wind gave a giant gust and something slammed into the back of the windshield. Into the back windshield. Thank you for the $2. I can't address all of them, otherwise I won't read the story. The spirit sees the donations, and the spirit is losing its mind every time they see one. So thank you, everyone. The women both screamed as glass shattered under the weight of the large branch. So a tree just smashed into their car. Wind and rain came whipping into the car through the gaping hole, only partially plugged by the enormous limb. Are you all right? Elizabeth asked shakily. Her sister nodded. The high seats in the front had protected them from most of the glass. Well, that settles it. We can't stay here with that hole in the back windshield, Elizabeth continued. We'll have to find some place to stay for the night. Taking a flashlight from under the seat, the two sisters ventured out into the storm. They were immediately soaked to the skin, and the roaring of the wind made talk impossible. After they'd walked for about 5 minutes, a flash of lightning revealed a waist-high stone wall that surrounded an overgrown lawn. Another flash seconds later showed an old, neglected-looking house set back a little away from the road. Dude, I would not go in this house. Already too spooky. They're in the last town in Massachusetts. That sounds scary enough. And they're in an abandoned area. Not a good night. No, Patricia shouted immediately over the wind. We are not going in there. Do we have a choice? Elizabeth yelled back. We'll catch pneumonia if we stay out here any longer. She hurried up to the wall and walked along it until she came to an iron gate. The gate opened with a high-pitched groan. Elizabeth hesitated. The sound gave her goosebumps. Maybe Patricia was right. Maybe they should look for another place to stay. Just then, a fierce gust of wind drove the rain right into her eyes, and Elizabeth decided she was going to look no farther. And she straightened her shoulders and stepped onto the uneven walkway. Behind her, she could hear Patricia grumbling as she followed. Elizabeth walked boldly up onto the small front porch and paused before the large, dark door. The house was even creepier close up. Paint was peeling off the door frame, and the boards below her feet felt warped. Still, the porch offered some shelter from the wind and the rain. I don't think anyone lives here, Patricia said into her ear. The sound echoed through the house, but no one answered. She rang again. Still no answer. Elizabeth went around the side of the house toward the rain-streaked, cracked window. One of the shutters was hanging loose, banging against the side of the house in a foreboding manner. How cliche, house. Elizabeth stopped it with her hand as she looked in the window. She could see a large room full of books. It looked like a library. The dust lay heavy over everything. A perfect vacation spot. Patricia yelled sarcastically from behind her. At least it's out of the wind and the rain, Elizabeth replies seriously. We can get the blankets from the trunk of the car, and there may be wood inside for a fire. Why don't you stay here while I run back to the car? What year is this? They didn't say what year it was, but it's probably at least the 80s or something. Oh no, Patricia said. We'll both go. Maybe someone will have stopped by now, and we won't have to spend the night in that horrid house. Horrid, that's what my brother's girlfriend says, and she's from England. That's a fun thing for me to know. They hurried back to the car. When she saw the massive size of the tree limb laying over the trunk, Elizabeth was glad Patricia had insisted upon $20. $200 is what we've hit. Thank you, everyone, for $200. We get 70% of 200, which is like 130 or something. I don't know. Thank you, everyone. Or maybe it's more than that. YouTube takes too much, and I hate it. But thank you so much for donating, and thanks to the people who donated directly to me. It'll even out what YouTube takes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I haven't done this for 20 years, so thank you for being here. I get 140. Thank you so much. That's good to know.
Somebody else just donated.
I can buy some true apple cider, and drink some hot apple cider, heated up. Apple cider, not everyone, I think a lot of people consider apple cider different things in different parts of the world, but here in New England, what we consider apple cider is really good. It's basically just smashed apples, and it's not apple juice. It's like cloudy apple juice, and you cannot get it in California. The only thing you can get is sort of similar. It's spiced cider, where it's just apple juice spiced, and it's all right. But apple cider here is really good. So I was gonna go with my spirit friends in this house and get some actual New England apple cider, and now I can. So thank you,
They
everyone.
all like it.
Thank you for watching. My spirit assistant is having the time of her life here. So thank you for entertaining her, as I try to entertain you. Okay, here we go. They hurried back to the car. When they saw the massive size of the tree
Somebody
limb.
loves you.
What?
Somebody.
Thank you for loving me. I love you too. They hurried back to the car. When they saw the massive size of the tree limb on the trunk, Elizabeth was glad Patricia had insisted upon coming along. She could never have shifted it alone. Together they wrestled the limb off the trunk of the car and pulled the blankets out of the trunk, thrusting the blankets inside their raincoats to keep them dry. They hurried back to the house. By this time, even Patricia was glad to be getting out of the rain. The front door was unlocked. Of course, dude, that's just inviting you into this horrifying. I mean, there's so much more to the story. I was thinking, you would think, oh, they're just gonna be in the house and nothing would happen. Because most people, thank you for loving the spirit. Most people who go to a house like this, you want something to happen, but nothing ever does. But there's 6 more pages here, which tells us something actually happened in this house. And that's horrifying. And the spirit read the story, and for a spirit it was scary. So that knows something good's coming. Oh, baby. I don't know if now I'm starting to get scared. My imagination's getting ahead of me. Okay, I just need to read it, and who cares? Whatever. It's not scary. It doesn't matter. This might activate the ghost in this house, the other spirit. This spooky activity might bring the ghost back. It's been a while since it's happened.
Somebody wants to marry you.
Someone wants to marry me?
Yeah, no, Baru, all right.
Well, are you a 35-year-old single woman from England?
I think it's a man.
You have a cool voice. I love marrying cool voices.
It's a man.
You're a man? Well, thank you for loving me. Well, I'm looking for a single 35-year-old woman from England. I'm very specific of what I'm looking for. Thank you for loving me, though. I appreciate it. All right, here we go. Back to the story. Together they wrestled the limb off the front. The front door was unlocked. Great. And it creaked open into the narrow hallway. And I'd like to thank my spooky other spirit for my wardrobe for this evening. My spooky sailor man, sheep herder sweater. Is this from actual Ireland?
I think so.
It might be from actual Ireland. That's nice. Okay, here we go. The front door creaked. Elizabeth sneezed as the dust tickled her nose. She shivered. The house was chilly, but at least it was dry. The dust was so thick that they left visible footprints on the floor, wherever they stepped. I am not going upstairs, said Patricia. Let's just sleep down here. After eyeing the spooky dark stairwell, Elizabeth agreed. The sisters hastily searched the downstairs for some firewood. There were a few small sticks left in the bottom of the wood bin in the huge kitchen. This house sounds like it's still inhabited. There's stuff, there's sticks, there's books. The door was open. You don't go in some, but why is the house so old and dusty if someone was living in there?
I think it was a rental.
A rental that
Wasn't it
just
a
left open?
weren't they gonna rent it?
Oh, that's horrifying. I would think at least maybe squatters or homeless people were living in there or something.
I can't remember.
Okay, there were a few small sticks in the bottom of the wood bin in the huge kitchen, but not enough to start a fire. The wood box in the you gotta burn some books. So the wood box in the library was totally empty. After vetoing Patricia's suggestion that they break up some of the chairs to make a fire, Elizabeth decided that they would sleep in the library, which was marginally warmer than is that the right page? Yeah. Which was marginally warmer than the rest of the downstairs. The sisters removed their wet coats and spread them out on a table by the fireplace, hoping they would dry by morning. Then they made a bed out of the blankets and lay down to sleep on the library floor. Good luck. Elizabeth wasn't sure what awakened her. Perhaps it was the sudden silence. The storm is over, she thought, opening her eyes. The room was bright, but the light was strange. The room, well, it's just jumping right into it. Oh gosh. The room was filled with the smell of the sea. What's the name of the story again? The Tell-Tale Seaweed is the name of the story. That's a reminder for everybody. The room was bright, but the light was strange. The room was filled with the smell of the sea. Elizabeth sat up and gasped. A bedraggled man in rough sailor's clothes was standing next to the fireplace. Chills all over my whole body. Oh God. Okay, there's a dude in the house. He was dripping wet and looked as if he were trying to dry himself before the fireplace. Who are you? Elizabeth called out in a strangled whisper. What are you doing here? At the sound of her voice, Patricia sat up. She took one look at the man, gave a small shriek. Wait, I read this wrong. Oh my gosh. Okay, hang on a second. Oh no, I didn't. Let me reread this because I always mess up. He was dripping wet and looked as if he were trying to dry himself by the fireplace. Who are you? Elizabeth called out in a strangled whisper. What are you doing here? At the sound of her voice, Patricia sat up. She took one look at the man, gave a small shriek, and buried her head under the blanket. Is this your house? Elizabeth continued in a stronger voice. We're sorry, we needed shelter for the night, and we thought no one lived here. Her voice trailed off as she belatedly realized that the light was coming not from the windows, but from the sailor. Oh my gosh. He was glowing in the dark. The blanket beside her was shaking. She could hear Patricia, a confirmed atheist, before the Lord's Prayer. The sailor turned and looked directly at Elizabeth. He frowned as if he did not recognize her and muttered something she could not make out. And then he disappeared. Elizabeth screamed and joined Patricia under the covers. It's just a dream, she told herself firmly. I was dreaming. The room outside the blanket stayed reassuringly dark. Just a bad dream, she said aloud. Patricia's only reply was a hastily quoted Psalm 23. There are no such things as ghosts, Elizabeth added loudly to convince herself. She turned over on the hard, dusty floor and firmly closed her eyes. Beside her, Patricia recited every piece of scripture their mother had ever forced them to learn, from Psalm 100 to the 10 Commandments. Finally, she stopped muttering and went back to sleep. Oh, dude, that guy is not leaving. Okay, when Elizabeth awoke, sunlight was streaming into the window. She sat up and tapped Patricia on the shoulder. Patricia shot to her feet with a shriek. She got tangled in the blankets and fell over. It's morning. Time to go, said Elizabeth. Hallelujah! Untangled herself from the blankets. Patricia practically leapt toward the table by the fireplace to get her coat and stopped dead. Elizabeth, she whispered. Elizabeth hurried to her sister, who was looking at a patch of water by the fireplace. Oh, dude. Beside it, oh my gosh. I have chills all over my body. Oh my gosh, I hate this one. Beside it, draped across the hearth, was a long piece of seaweed. It had not been there the night before, but Elizabeth looked around the room. The only footprints she could see in the dust were those of herself and her sister. That's enough for me. I'm leaving right now, said Patricia. She grabbed her coat and marched out of the house. Elizabeth lingered for a moment. The sailor had looked so sad, she thought. She picked up the seaweed and put it into the pocket of her raincoat. Ooh, dude, she's bringing the spirit home with her. That's not good. Wow. Then she touched the puddle of water. I would have done the same thing. I would have had to. And smelled her finger. It smelled briny, like water from the ocean. She tasted it. She's haunted. She's haunting herself. It was salty. Slowly she followed her sister out of the house and down the road to the car. By the time she arrived, Patricia had flagged down a milk truck. The driver offered them a ride to the nearest town. After arranging for their car to be towed, Elizabeth asked the owner of the garage about the abandoned house. The Allen place? He replied. The Allens were an old Cape Cod family, like the spirits in this house that keep messing with the table and snorting and wetting their pants. The Allens were an old Cape Cod family lived in the house nigh on forever. Old man Allen and his wife were the last of that family. They only had one son, a boy named Thomas. Ooh, interesting. The name of the spirit of this house. He was a high-spirited lad, and he didn't get along too well with his father. About 20 years ago, old man Allen and Thomas had a terrible fight. The old man ordered Thomas out of his house, and the boy left. Signed onto, this is the end of the story, everybody. Signed onto a fishing boat, and was drowned at sea. Oh, that was him. That was and he looked sad. Oh, wow, drowned at sea. His mother died of a broken heart when she got the news. Old man Allen didn't say much after that. He just got odder and odder. Finally, sold the house and went out west. He paused, frowning at the memory of the fiddling nervously with the baseball cap in his hands. The family that had bought the house from him moved away after only a year. He continued slowly. They claimed the strange things kept happening at night. The properties changed hands a couple of times, but no one stayed there long. It stood empty. I have chills everywhere. It stood empty now for over 10 years. The girls didn't happen to see anything. You girls didn't happen to see anything while you were there? Question mark. Absolutely not. I don't believe in ghosts, Patricia told him firmly. Elizabeth put her hand into her pockets. I do, she thought, because she got the seaweed in her pockets. Okay, one more paragraph. Here's a picture of an artist's rendition of the person, that's probably the son, drowning in the boat that's sinking. That's the kid. The Tell-Tale Seaweed. Oh, thank you, Amy. I am in love with the decor of this room. Well, it's terrifying to a teenager who lives in the house. Thank you so much, Dragon. You're giving so much. Ghost Mom went quiet. The Ghost Mom is engaged in the story. Ghost Mom loves the story. Last paragraph. A few months later, Elizabeth attended a local dinner party. Patricia, I read really fast. I don't make many periods between my sentences. Sorry. Patricia usually accompanied her to such events, but this dinner conflicted with her weekly parish meeting. Patricia's newfound faith on the night they met the ghost continued long after they left Cape Cod. So Elizabeth found herself partnered with another solo guest at dinner. He was a museum curator, and they realized they had a mutual interest in the paranormal. Finding a sympathetic ear, Elizabeth told him the story of her stay in the haunted house. The museum curator volunteered to test the seaweed for her to see if she sent him a sample. She did. After several days passed, Elizabeth finally received a letter. The seaweed, her message said, was a rare type often found on the bodies of the drowned. The end. What does that mean? So some seaweed is because it's so deep, the drowned bodies get tangled in it or something? The ghost spirit has no idea. Ooh, the next story is called The Lady in Black. George Island, Massachusetts. George's Island, is that off the Cape? Where is that? I don't know where George's Island is. I've never heard of that. I live here. Is that a good one? $2. Thank you, everybody. Should we take a break?
Someone wants you to drink water.
I gotta drink some water. I can actually feel my throat being parched. Look at this spooky decor. We got a spooky pocket watch. See if I can open this thing. Ooh, it's empty.
They're all talking about the cool.
Everyone's talking about the cool room. The spirit is in love with your love for this room. This is music to the spirit's ears. They love, oh, you can hear the clocks? Well, luckily, there's only one clock. Oh, there's clocks in all the other rooms, though. There's one clock going here. There's one clock. Is this one ticking? This one's pretty quiet, though. The other 3 clocks in this room, which you can't see, have been shut down because it would be insanity if you heard all of them. Clocks everywhere in this house. The spirit, my throat is killing me.
Yeah? Are you getting sick?
I'm getting a thing. I don't know if it's from the kids.
Yes, I do. They want a room.
It's hard to swallow.
They want a room tour.
I think I'm getting haunted. I'm also talking a lot. It's making my rude voice very spooky, though. Well, should we go on a tour of the house for a little intermission?
Calling for Ghost Mom.
Ghost Mom would love to show her pride and joy this entire house. Every spec of this house is exactly where the spirit wants it to be. You hear that? Classic cuckoo clock going off. It's a miracle that the spirits fall asleep in this house with all the noise. Thank you for the $2.
For goodness sake, Nathan. Pinky's out.
We got spooky candles, spooky lamps. Let's go on.
Show my
Let's go on a little tour of this room. This is the 100th anniversary of these probably nice people who look terrifying to a modern man like me. Their names are Nana and Pop. Look at this one. So what year are these candle holders? 1830? 1830. We are truly in a haunted house. Not only is it, and like, I'm not even saying that because you all know the stories that have happened to me in this house. Now it looks like the things that happened to me. When we moved in here, it didn't look like this. The spirits who live in this house now made it look like its original form. We got all kinds of bells here too. You like bells? The spirits love bells. Sometimes these bells go off with no explanation. This was all done by the spirit carpenter who lives in this house. This whole house was restored. Here are some spooky bagpipes. This is a picture of Cape Cod from, oh my gosh, Kyrie, $50. Kyrie, oh my gosh, we've made $250. This is unbelievable. Ghost Mom has been seen. Ghost Mom snuck away. This is another, everything in this house is spooky to me. Oh, this thing is going off now. Is it this one? Or is it something else? I can't tell. The noises are coming from everywhere. Look, a spooky doily. Ugh. A spooky lamp. A spooky book. Everything is spooky. Spooky bells. Let's see what's over here. Over here, we have spooky motorcycle. That's my granny. I remember her. She was old when I was young. And my grandfather, they're on a super old motorcycle. My great-grandmother, my dad's mom. This is my dad's dad. My dad's grandfather. It's someone old. It doesn't matter. Thank you, Chappie. Don't turn around. I know there's spirits here. My niece and nephew, some lady, and a kid, a bell. Tons of bells everywhere. That's Aunt Alice. Everyone knows Aunt Alice. That's Nana's mother. Thank you, Kyrie, for the $50 insane dollars. Here's another clock. Here's a box. Here's yarn. Here's bird nest. Here's a piano. Oh, here's this chair. Let's go walk through this spooky house. Here is, oh, can we turn on a light here? This house is ancient. Look, we got spooky stuff. You want to see some children's pictures? That's me, right there, eating cake out of my cousin's hand. This is my own mother walking a horse around with Cheffed. There's Cheffed wearing a 90s Looney Tune t-shirt. Here's my dad and his enormous mustache with his dad. Here's me with Josh. My dad and his enormous mustache with a horse. The three of us, me, Josh, Seth, and my mother's arm under a blanket holding him up. Me in an Alf t-shirt, Josh, Seth, Amy, who you all know, my cousin, Liz, who you all know, Tommy, Michelle. Great, that's enough. This is us the year we moved to California. Me, Josh, Seth. Great. Here's some spooky people. Who are these spooky people? Who knows? There's an old iron from the year 1. So this is the doorknob, the doorbell. You wind it up, right? Am I doing that right? Yep. Do I keep twisting it? I don't think it will go anymore. And then, oh, that way? And now open the door. And then push the button. It's not working. It broke. It's old. Did it break? It broke. We broke it. Is it too tight? It actually broke. Uh-oh. She's not happy. That probably was going to have a fit. This is the old porch. With a porch swing out on the porch. There's outside. This is the porch. Where in the Halloween time, there's a boat. My dad loves boats. Wooden boats. This swing is where my mother, I think they take the swing down. My mother sits way down there, and the kids have to come in this door and walk over to her where it's all decorated, spooky and horrifying, and they have to make their way over here. And all the parents are like, go see the witch. And they're like, no! And then they give her a lousy piece of candy for being brave. Here's the spooky staircase. Okay, it works now. So you wind this thing up, and you push this button, and this is like from what year? And then you can see eventually it winds down. You got to rewind it. It's from the Victorian era. Thank you, everyone who's watching this spooky tour. Here's an old box, an old brown box. It's a desk. It's a chest. You open it up. It's Nana's desk, and you can write on it and do whatever you want. And we'd always get in trouble for making a mess on this thing. All right, there's more pictures of us. Who cares? Look at this cuckoo clock. This kitchen has a tin ceiling. From what year? It's new, but a tin ceiling was made in what type of year? 1880s was the year that ceilings were like this. Look at this refrigerator. I love this refrigerator, and I want this refrigerator. 1947 is this refrigerator, and it actually works. And this is what they use. There's no whispering. If you're hearing whispering, you might be hearing a spirit in the house. That's what you're hearing. So you open the refrigerator. You want to hear a ghost? That's the ghost. The ghost is haunting my bowels. You open this, another door, and then you see in the refrigerator. That's the freezer up here. This is an 1840. There we go. Now you can see. I want this refrigerator really bad. I love this refrigerator. It's actually really cool. The bottom is nothing. It's just how you get to the parts. That's a cool refrigerator. Dry storage. You put dry stuff down there. So it's pretty dark over here in the house. There's an old stove. This is a nice new floor that the spirits worked very hard on to clean up. Let's go look at some of the clocks. Here, isn't this from a ship? This bell, they love bells. Thank you, Paul. That's a loud one. You pull this. Isn't there a barometer in this house somewhere? There's another bell. Who knew? There's bells everywhere. Oh, look, there's more bells here. You pull these. Bells, bells, bells. Oh, this one you pull and it winds. Oh, it's a music box. Bell. Another giant bell on the door. What the heck is? I didn't even realize there were so many in here.
This is from a car.
Is this from a car? Oh, you put. Oh, this is an old car horn. Can we see? Is there more light we can have? This is outside. There's outside. So there's a button on the side of the door right here. And I guess you would step on it. It's like an old car horn. I don't know if you can see this round thing right here. You step on it, and that was the old car horn. That's crazy. I did know that at one point. That, you step on this on the floor, and my dad put it in the door. So that's the doorbell. You push that, and it rings. That's cool. That was an old car bell. That's still playing its song. And there's the box for recycling. And then we got old boat cups. Other stuff. Other old stuff. I mean, you walk in this house, if you're a burglar, you go, nope, I'm turning around. That's an apple peeler up here. That's how you peel apples in the year 2.
It's for apple pie.
Apple pie in the year 2.
No. Here now.
Here we go. All right. So this is the dining room with more clocks. Lots of prisms. I like prisms. Prisms are cool. Makes all kinds of rainbows. Prisms in every window. Cuckoo clocks over here. Yes. Cuckoo clocks equal haunted. Bells equal haunted. Candles. Old house. Haunted, haunted, haunted. There we go. Oh, so I don't know if I show everyone the secret compartment? Okay, I won't. My dad likes to make, my dad built like everything in this house. The walls, everything. And he loves secret compartments, and he has made secret compartments in this house. It's pretty cool. All right, so should we go upstairs?
What's your bed name?
This is the staircase that I would have to sneak down, me and my brothers, every Christmas into this parlor and try not make any noise.
Footsteps came down on the day we
Oh, yeah. So this is the staircase. So I can tell you, I can reenact the story for you. I was up here. You can see how small this house is. Right around that corner, like by inches around that corner, is the room right here. The room I was in. So I was right there, basically, playing Sega Saturn. My mom was right here at the table with my brother Seth. And they heard someone run up and down the stairs, and they thought it was me. And my mom said, "Nathan, take your shoes off." I leaned my head out right here and said, "What?" Because I didn't hear anything. And she said, "Take your shoes off." I said, "My shoes are off. I'm playing Saturn." I was in the room. And Seth and my mom were like, "What?" And my dad was in the cellar, which is right underneath these stairs. And there's a table right down here below. My dad was working. His head was probably right here where my foot is, like inches below that. He didn't hear anyone on the steps. I didn't hear anyone on the steps. My mom and Seth both heard it. Sounded like someone ran upstairs. It was weird that they heard it together at the same time, and I didn't. That was the ghost running up and down these stairs. So these are also the stairs that, if you listen to these stairs, it's okay. Now it's not doing it, but they're very creaky, especially when you have shoes on. It's hard to be quiet. Also, okay, so here we go. This is the door. In this room, my mom and dad's room, you can't see the lights are off. There was a ceiling fan that turned on and spun by itself when the power was off all the time on my brother. So this is the doorknob. Here it is. This is the doorknob. It's exactly what it sounded like. I was in this room. Here's a giant old spinning wheel that terrifies me at night. I had to stare at that thing as I sleep in this bed, in this haunted room. This is the room I'm staying in, the guest room. My parents put a pilgrim's bed in here. I have to sleep at an angle. It's my grandparents' bed. I have to sleep. Great grandparents. I have to sleep at an angle because my head hits the boards.
Enough for you.
It's good enough for me. So
It's a $700 man.
$700. Oh, they also like typewriters. Lots of typewriters in this house. There we go. Lots of typewriters. We got a spooky flashlight lighting everything up. Typewriter. Old typewriters. Another clock. Who would have known? Who would have guessed? It is a drawing that I made. That's my parents. This is from an actual photo. My parents were sitting on my friend's moped one summer, so I drew it. And this is what they look like to me in my eyes. There you go. Happy birthday, Mom and Dad. They have the same birthday, same time, everything. Born the same exact second. So, what was I going to show them? Oh, yeah. So, I was laying here in this bed. There was a bed right here. My girlfriend was sleeping in the bed in this corner. I was laying on the floor right here. So, I was about this far from the wall, from the door, right here. And the door was closed. So here's the threshold, right? So I'll reenact the whole thing for you. I was laying right here on the floor, and I heard about that long, that hard. I thought it was Seth. So I sat up. I was like, what the heck? I opened the door, and I went here. And you can see I'm standing here at the edge of the door. I can see in the bathroom, the other room, my brother's room, which he wasn't in because he was sleeping at his girlfriend's. The door's open. By standing here at my door, I can see downstairs. The closet for upstairs. You would have heard the door open, someone run down the stairs. It's impossible to disappear that fast. No one was in the bathroom. I poked my head into the bathroom. No one was there. Poked my head into his room. No one was there. Looked here. No one was downstairs. I would have seen it running away. The thing was gone. No one was gone. I was thinking, okay, maybe it was Trash Bag. Trash Bag was the name of our cat. No. And Trash Bag could never stand on his hind legs that high and touch this doorknob. And if he could, he'd maybe like do like this. Like that would, maybe he could even make that noise, but he could not go. It was freaking nuts. It scared me so bad. So then I heard, so right here, if you stand on these boards, I don't know if it'll do it anymore. So my parents have redone this house. If you stand on these boards, see if I can do it. Might not do it anymore. They were redoing the house at the time. This was like almost 20 years ago. Yeah, it's not working anymore. The boards are like all. My parents have like fixed this house. It might have been the old boards too on top of this at that point. I don't know if you stripped them all the way down. If I stood here and I rocked, the floor would go ring, 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 ring. And I'd heard that happening. Oh, maybe it was there. Was it on this? Mm-hmm. Maybe it was on the threshold. Oh, yeah. Wait. I just did it. You just heard me do it. I was able to do it that night. It happened. So I heard a ring, 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 ring on the board. And then I stood here. I was like, you hear that? And my girlfriend was like, stop it. You're freaking me out. Mm-hmm. And then I stood here, and I was able to recreate the creaking, which made me imagine what the ghost was doing, rocking back and forth. The spirit does not want to be on camera. I have to keep avoiding her. So, anyways, that's the haunted experience I had in this room, and it was awesome. So there you go. Oh, we still show the bathroom. The bathroom is cool. The bathroom reminds me of a Wes Anderson movie. Here is the old sink. There's me. Hi. The old radiator. The old claw tub. The toilet used to be over here. And there was a shelf here. And I would sit in this corner on the toilet, and I'd lean on this shelf and write so many of my ideas down and come up with ideas for videos in the early 2000s. So yeah, this is where you poop. There's a shower there. And this is the sink that I really like. And you plug it up old school style. And it's cool. So yeah, there you go. That's the bathroom. There you go. And here's my old room. Oh, more bagpipes. A lamp, a clock, more 1800s candles. Yeah, this is where the ceiling fan was. My brother was laying here on the floor. The ceiling fan was off. It spun backwards, which it does not mechanically do. It stopped. Would you hear that noise? I heard a noise. I'm freaking myself out. And then it spun the way it's supposed to go, and it stopped. It went ring, ring. And he was laying here going, he was talking to his girlfriend. He goes, the fan just turned on, and it's going the wrong way. And now it's going back. So, message me on Instagram sometime. Are you talking to me, Retro? If you are, if anyone's talking to me and I'm missing your comments, I'm apologizing. Here are the bagpipes that my dad plays. One of the pair. The other pair, I think, are just decoration. They're super old or something. The other ones downstairs are playable?
They're elbow pipes.
Oh, they're elbow pipes. I guess it's a different thing. There's another squeeze box down there, an accordion. All sorts of musical squeezy things. So, yeah. There we go. Great. Bagpipes. Okay, here we go. Moving on. Back down to the haunted parlor. We could go in the attic. The attic's kind of spooky. Should I go in the attic, or is it just filled with junk?
It's not filled with junk.
This is how you get up to the attic. You walk into this spooky closet. Here's the spooky closet. Ooh, this hasn't been redone because they spent all the money on nail polish. Look at this. This is how you go up to the attic. You come around this corner. It's super tight. And you go up this staircase that, look, it's like as wide, it's barely as wide as my shoulders. Oh, this is up here with Becky, our cousin. Didn't they hear something up here?
I don't remember.
There was all kinds of stuff that happened up here. This is spooky. There's the window. I can't even stand up. I can maybe stand in the very center, but the nails will hit my head. This is the attic. And this is the staircase that goes down. Spooky. Oh, and in up here, see this old newspapers? My parents found in the walls or somewhere in the installation up here. What's his name? He's like a famous, I can't remember, man, my dad. There's 2 spirits haunting this house. There's 2 living spirits haunting this house. Here's an old chest, my grandfather's army chest. Captain William J. Barnett, United States Marine Corps. Old square green box. Yeah, so look at this. Is this a support? Oh, that's a chimney. Yeah. That's a spooky chimney right there. That runs up the middle of the house. Oh, no Wi-Fi in attic. All right, we're going down. I guess we're losing signal.
Oh, I'm surprised at that.
Well, it's because it's haunted up there. That's why.
Wi-Fi's right in the kitchen.
So, going back down. Why do you need help, Amy? What's going on? Are you being haunted right now? Oh, another bell. Who knew? Is this the doorbell? Well, that's the actual doorbell?
Yeah.
Is it wired to the front?
Yes, all right.
Really? Who ran the wire to the walls? Dad?
Sure. Yeah.
Where? That's pretty impressive, actually. So my mother is going out to the front door to ring the doorbell. Oh, you see it? The whole neighborhood could probably hear that thing. Wow. Are you guys losing signal? Can you hear us? Can you hear me now? Everyone loves the house. Can you guys hear now? Is it back?
Did you lose it? Do you need to plug
Hang on one second, everybody. I'm gonna.
You need to plug it.
No, power has nothing to do with it. I'll see if I can jump on. Maybe I'm not on the Wi-Fi. I should be. No, I'm on the Wi-Fi. Now that I'm downstairs, maybe it'll kick back in. I know I can see the comments, but it should be working fine.
Yeah, some people couldn't.
Well, we're back in the parlor.
258. That's
See you, CC. Thanks for being here. Thanks for everyone who's donated. I really appreciate it. This is a special edition of grave stories from a grave digger in a haunted house. I've only read one story. Yeah, the attic is haunted, so the ghosts are probably messing with the Wi-Fi. All right. Does the spirit want to read a story from off camera or on camera? I need to get some more water. The spirit is with you still. I'll be right back. I'm getting some water.
It's short. This one's really short.
We're in for a treat, everybody. The spirit will read to you a haunted story. Oh, wow. The spirit is going to throw up from laughing so much. I don't know if the spirit's going to make it through. Is it going to be too dim for you?
No. Dad is mortified.
I will read the chat as the spirit reads the story. Thank you for watching, everyone. This is truly a unique night. Thank you for being here, Sauce Bucket. No, hope the spirit doesn't have to go to the bathroom. We're being haunted by the act. Uh-oh. I put that in there for a bookmark. It's the pocket watch.
That's your great-grandfather's.
Oh, that's great. It's great, literally. It's my great-grandfather's. Oh, look at the spooky bonnet on her head. Ooh. Let's see if she can read words.
Good evening.
You might need to be a little louder.
Okay. Good evening. I am the ghost of Christmas tomorrow.
It's not Christmas tomorrow.
Shh. You don't know that. Sir! Exclamation point. The newest recruit at Fort Warren. I'm sorry.
This story is titled The Lady in Black.
Ooh.
George's Island, Massachusetts.
Turn it up if you need to a little louder, anybody. I don't know if she'll be project as much.
I have no idea where George's Island is, but it's in Massachusetts. Look it up.
Look it up.
Sir! Exclamation point. The newest recruit at Fort Warren came running along the walkway toward Richard Cassidy. Richard turned...
Richard. How do you say that name?
Stop it.
Richard.
You be quiet.
Richard.
Richard turned...
Richard.
Richard, R-I-C-H-I-D, turned impatiently and frowned at the red-headed, freckle-faced recruit. What was his name, Charlie? Private, he said gruffly. The private came to attention and snapped off a salute. Sir, I found a woman's footprints in the snow. He hesitated, looking confused and a bit frightened. But they don't go anywhere. The sentry told me to ask you about it. Richard Cassidy sighed. I see you've met the lady in black, he said.
Uh-oh.
Sir, asked the private, come show me the footprints, said Richard Cassidy. Knock it off. And can't see if I'm laughing. And I'll tell you, you're ruining the atmosphere.
You're laughing at it.
I'm not ruining anything. And I'll tell you about our resident ghost. Ghost, the private gulped nervously and glanced around. Hasn't anyone told you about the woman in black robes who haunts the fort? Asked Richard. You're lucky this is only 3.5 pages. The private shook his head. I wouldn't have believed them anyway, sir. There's no such thing as ghosts. He sounded confident enough, but he kept glancing about warily as he led Richard down to... Enough.
I'm not doing anything.
Stop it. How many dollars am I getting?
You're getting quite a bit, actually.
I well better get $100. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, stop it.
It's haunted house.
Oh my God. I can't see anything. Hold on. Let me pull up the light a little bit.
Don't catch it on fire.
Yeah, my hat.
Well, your bonnet's gonna burst into flames. What year is that bonnet from?
1838.
Her favorite year.
It is. But he kept glancing about warily as he led Richard down the great arched entrance to the fort. There, he pointed. In the fresh snow, Richard Cassidy could see 5 footprints. The prints of a woman's shoe. They came out of nowhere and ended abruptly after only a few feet. Yes, that must be her. She was a tiny woman, just like me, said Richard. He nodded to the sentry on guard by the door and said, Come, Private, it's time someone told you about the lady in black. Richard Cassidy led the private to the corridor of dungeons. He brought chairs into an empty cell, and they sat facing each other as the officer began his story. All right, this is where it's going to get good now. You aren't the first to encounter the lady in black. A soldier last year was climbing to the top of the ladder that leads to this corridor. As he approached the top, a woman's voice said, Don't come in here. Gave him quite a start. He hightailed it down the ladder and got the commander, who just laughed and told him not to mind the ghost. Richard Cassidy shook his head reminiscently. Another poor chap I know was walking his post one night when a pair of cold hands surrounded his neck. He struggled furiously against the strangling grip and finally broke free. He turned to confront his attacker and saw the lady in black. Unfortunately, the commander did not believe his story. The sentry was sentenced to 30 days solitary confinement for leaving his post. Who is this ghost? Asked the private curiously. The lady in black came originally from the south, Richard Cassidy said, settling back comfortably in his chair. Her name was Melanie, and she was married to a Confederate lieutenant in the Southern Army, Samuel Rainier. just a few weeks before he and many others were captured at Burnside at Roanoke Island. Sam Lanier was shipped up here to Fort Warren and was incarcerated right here in the corridor of dungeons. Somehow, God knows how, he managed to get a message to his wife by the Underground Railroad. The message contained directions on where he was imprisoned and how she could reach him. Being madly in love with her lieutenant, Melanie took passage on a ship and sailed north to Hull. That's Hull.
That's a town in
That's a
Massachusetts.
town in Massachusetts. What did she do then? Asked the private. At that time, there was a Confederate sympathizer living in Hull, Richard Cassidy replied. As soon as she landed, Melanie Lanier located his house. He gave her a pepper-box pistol and a Union soldier's uniform to wear. On a moonless night, she rode to George's Island and landed on the beach.
Ooh.
Plucky woman, said the private admiringly. You don't meet many girls like that now. Richard frowned at him. May I continue? He asked sarcastically. Sorry, sir. Richard Cassidy continued. Melanie slipped past the sentries under the cover of darkness. She gave a prearranged signal and waited tensely for a response. After a few moments, she was pulled up to the carronade embrasure and hauled through a musket loop. I don't know what that means. After a tender
Hauled through a musket loop?
I don't know what that
What's a musket
means.
loop, everybody?
Your father will know that.
Your father.
The other ghost.
Yeah, the
After
spirit dad.
After a tender reunion with her husband, Melanie was told about a tunnel the prisoners were digging under the parade grounds. They were planning to enter the armory and take over the fort. Unfortunately, the prisoners miscalculated. The tunnel came too close to the Union soldiers who were stationed near
Shepard's here and he said, my own mother.
the wall. Hi, Seth! And that very night, they heard the sounds of digging. The plan was discovered, and Colonel Dimmick immediately came to the corridor of dungeons. When the colonel cornered Samuel and Melanie Lanier in the cell, she pulled out her pistol and attempted to fire at him. Unfortunately, the pistol exploded. A piece of metal pierced her husband's brain, killing him instantly.
Ooh.
Oh no, said the private. It gets worse, said Richard. Colonel I'm in another time zone. Colonel Dimmick had no choice but to sentence Melanie to hang as a Southern spy. Being a kind man, he gave the woman one last request. Plucky to the end, Melanie wished to be hanged in women's clothing. Soldiers were sent to scour the fort for some women's clothing. The best they could do was some black monk's robes worn by one of the men during an entertainment. Dressed all in black, Melanie Lanier was hanged to death as a Southern spy. And now she haunts the fort, said the private. Yes, she does, said the officer. Soldiers have reported seeing a spirit dressed in black, walking the parapets and ramparts at night. Several men have shot at her ghost while on sentry duty. The bullets pass right through her. There used to be a regular poker game in the ordnance room, but the lady in black kept rolling a stone across the length of the storeroom each time they played. It made the men so nervous, they finally chose another part of the island on which to play. Thank you, sir, for telling me about the ghost, the private said. Just don't desert your post if she comes walking towards you late one night, said Richard, rising from his chair. And here is a picture. Where's the camera?
Yeah.
Of the lady in black.
Oh. That's the lady in black.
Okay.
An artist's rendition.
Yeah, it's a woodcut. No, sir, the private hurried out of the cell and then turned back toward Richard Cassidy. Sir, do you really believe in ghosts? Son, the man replied, remember, I told you about the chap who got 30 days solitary confinement for being strangled. Yes, sir. That man was me, said Richard Cassidy.
Whoa.
That was a good one, I think.
That's pretty good. You have many fans.
Good, because I'm always warm.
They want Ghost Mom to be a reoccurring show.
A reoccurring spirit?
Yes, everyone wants you to do the ghost stories from now on. They said you have a very soothing voice.
Oh.
And it's very nice to listen to
Here we
you.
go. Ocean-born Mary. Ghost of George's Bank.
They
Gloucester.
want you to make a podcast. I don't think she
No.
even knows what that is.
I don't have time for that. I'm
She
a
doesn't have
busy
time.
person.
She's making quilts. She's busy
You
quilting.
should show him the cellar.
Oh, now she wants me to show you the cellar. The cellar. But she calls it the cellar. You say cellar.
C-E-L-L-A.
It sounds like you say C-U-L-L-A.
Sulla.
C-U-L-L-U-H. Cellar.
Sulla.
S-U-L-L-U-H. Cellar. The cellar.
Whatever I say is correct. Go read something.
All
I'll
right.
read your comments.
I gotta get
Get some
one more
water.
cup of water.
Let's see.
Ghost Mom will read the
Let's
comments.
see. I'll tell you some stories. While you're waiting.
Why don't you tell some stories that happened to you in
Yeah.
your house?
I'll be
She
a-
gotta put her spooky bonnet back
I'll
on.
be a commercial break. And now, brought to you by...
I'm surprised you're not showing your new haircut.
Oh. And now, brought to you by Haunted Incorporated, we have a story about the day we moved into this house. The day
They
we
want me
moved
to
into
hug
this
you.
Oh, oh, Nene. We used to call Nathan Nene when he was little, because his older brother couldn't say Nathan, so we called him Nene, and now everybody calls him Nene. So that's what we call him, Nay or Nene. My second son, born on the 2nd of February, 22. He was born at 12/22. He didn't used to fart then.
Yeah, you did.
No, he did not. Anyway, the day we moved into this house was Halloween Eve.
Oh yeah, we moved here on
We moved in on Halloween 1997.
I totally forgot
And
about that.
all the kids were coming to trick or treat, and I had no candy, and I never had a kid come to our houses in anywhere we live for trick or treat, and I was so excited because this house had sidewalks, and there were tons of little kids on both sides of the street, and I was like, oh, come back next year, I'll have lots of
They
candy.
were sad they came back
And
after they saw the
yeah,
witch.
because the old witch came out of the attic. So the witch would lock Mrs. Ghost Lady in the attic.
You don't want to say your name?
No.
They all know my name, so they know your
And
name.
Mrs. Nathan's mom would be locked in the attic by the witch, and she would take over my porch, and she would just haunt the kids. And the doorbell would ring, and she'd say, "Come in, children." And they
So I can't even listen to it. It's so scary.
Afraid.
The
And they'd
noise
come
was
in,
so good.
And I had putty on my nose, and I had, I don't know, makeup and long fake fingernails and black hood and a black hat, and I had burlap for a cape, and oh, it was so much fun. But my mother used to do the same thing when I was little. She was the Wicked Witch in our house when I was a kid. And one year, she dressed me up as one of the flying monkeys from The Wizard of Oz, and all she would do was hold a candle like this, and there were no lights on in the house, and she'd say, "Well, come in if you dare." And the kids wouldn't come near her. And one night, there were these terrible bullies in the town, big kids, big boys, like 8th, 9th, 10th grade, and they were like, "We're not afraid of you." And my mom walked out with the candle, and she said, "Come in!" And she shook her broom, and she screeched them, and I came running out as one of the monkeys on Wizard of Oz, and I was on the ground, and I was like, after
Gosh,
them,
you guys are
and we
terrifying the
chased-
neighborhood.
We chased these big bully boys, they were called the Rainiers, and we chased them down the driveway, and they dropped all their candy, and they ran away, so we got all their candy, and they were terrified, and they never came back. It was awesome. My mother weighed 100 pounds, and I probably weighed 50. and they all weighed 200 pounds apiece. It was awesome. So anyway, I carry on the tradition, and I'm dressed up as the witch, and then they would come in. So on Halloween, the first year we lived here, I couldn't do anything because we were moving in, and it was in the afternoon, and we were bringing things in. We put everything in the cellar because the house was, I just didn't know where anything was going to go. So all the boxes were coming in. Joshua and Nathan and Seth and their dad were driving back to the other town and bringing everything in the car, one load at a time. So things were in the cellar. And the next day they had to go to school, and I needed all these papers to make sure they could get to school in the morning because we now lived in a different town. So I was like frantically looking for these papers, and I was yelling out, where in the world did I pack these papers? Because I had everything super organized so that I would know exactly where they were, and I couldn't find them. I'm like, oh no, these are the transfer papers. I need these papers first thing in the morning. It was a Sunday. They had to go to school on Monday, blah, blah, blah. I was yelling out in the house, I need those papers. Whoever's here, please help me find those papers. And I went down the cellar stairs, and there were boxes everywhere, and right on top of the boxes, what was there? The papers, all stacked up outside of a box on the top of the box. Everything I needed. I was like, okay, thank you. And then while I was down cellar, what did I hear on the stairway that Nathan showed you? This is what I heard. You listen now. Down the stairway, I heard something. I thought, oh, brother, they forgot something. And so I yelled up, who's that? What did you forget? What do you need? Nothing. Not a sound. I came upstairs. There was no one in the house but me. Alone. So, that was the first thing. And then Seth and I heard those steps again on the stairs. Something else happened.
The mirror, was that the people that lived here before?
That was the people that lived here before us. So a couple of things kept happening. We heard noises. We couldn't find things, and I would yell out, I need this, and all of a sudden the thing I was looking for would be
My
placed
keys were on
somewhere.
the floor, in the middle of the floor.
We would find it. So a couple weeks after we moved in, I went up, I had a doctor's appointment, and it was right in the same town, right up the street, and I'm talking to the woman who was checking me in, and I said, oh, we just moved into the town, and we just bought a little house, it's very cute, da-da-da-da-da. She goes, oh, where in the town? She said, I used to live in Milford. I said, oh, we live at blah, blah, blah street in Milford. And she said, really? She said, I grew up in that house. I'm like, no. She said, yeah. Have you met the ghost yet? I said, what? And she said, oh yeah. She said, when you need things, he finds things for you. And when you lose things, well, or when you're looking for something, he'll take them on you. And then she said, when we moved in, which they moved in the 60s, when they moved in, a woman came up to them who bought the house in the 20s, and she...
It's weird that you all met the previous owners.
I know. It was like everyone who's ever lived here met the previous owners. So she said, oh yes, she said, we met the woman and man who used to live there in the 20s. When they moved in, that woman came up to this lady's mother and said, oh, have you met the ghost? And she told about the ghost finding things for them, and when they lose things, they'd appear, and when they needed things, they would disappear. And when they lived here, the people from the 60s lived here that I was speaking to, they had like a very heavy mirror on one of the rooms that's no longer
A what?
a room. A heavy mirror.
A what?
A mirror. M-I-R-R-O-R. Mirror. M-I-R-R-O-R.
Oh, okay.
Mirror.
A mirror.
Mirror on a wall with two big, like wire, heavy corded wire. And her sister was in the room, which is now just all of our kitchen, but it used to be a little bedroom. And, which we slept in our bed and gave our 2 better bedrooms to our children because we are undying parents.
Thank you. So nice of you.
Nothing but amazing.
They slept in the kitchen.
We slept in the tiniest room.
The
Anyway,
bed, the bed was the size of the
just
room.
about
You
fit.
had to inch your way around the
right, yeah,
bed.
there was no room. But anyway, then we just...
And my friends always come over, they go, why do your parents sleep in the kitchen? I said, because we're poor. Go away.
Yeah, report, go away. Stop being so nosy. So this big heavy mirror was like a square, beveled edge, heavy mirror was on the wall, and the mirror came off, the wire came
This
up,
happened to a lady in the 60s?
yeah, the wire came up off the big screw that it was hanging on, and just went down the wall really slowly and sat on the floor.
She saw this?
They were sitting there watching it.
That's insane.
Yep.
That's like one of the
And
craziest
her
things you could ever
mother-
see.
Her mother was like looking for her glasses one day. Remember where the pantry was?
Uh-huh.
We had a little narrow pantry.
Where the
with
3
a
cuckoo
door,
clocks are now.
And yes, it was a little narrow
Amy
room.
loves you and you're brilliant. She gave 2 pounds.
Oh, thank you, Amy.
She's given a lot more in this stream.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. You need money for your electric bill, so stop giving.
Yeah.
And
The pantry.
She was looking for her glasses because she worked at the hospital, which is right up the road, and she had to leave. And she was about to leave. She's like, "Where are my glasses?" She was telling like, "Where are they?" And then she looked on the middle of the floor in this pantry, and there were her glasses, folded up, just sitting there waiting for her. So,
That's what happened to me.
just to repeat, when I am looking for something in this house, I simply call out and say, I'm looking for whatever the thing is, I really, really need it, and you need to make sure you find it for me and bring it to me. And within like a half an hour, whatever the thing is, it's always right there.
The weird thing that happened to me was I was home alone and I was going to go to my shelves or something. And I was running. I always forget my keys and because I don't grab everything. And I ran out of the house. But we all kept the keys on the key rack. Like everyone just hung their keys on the key rack. And most people know this story. I've said it a lot. And on the key ring, all the keys hung. They all hang now in a cabinet my dad built into the wall. Thank you for the donation, Deflective.
Which was a fuse box, by the way.
Oh, that was a fuse box? I didn't show that. I didn't show you guys everything. My dad built everything, and he built a key box into the wall that used to be an electric box, apparently. So my keys were not hanging up, and they should have been, because I hang them up as soon as I walk in the door. There's no reason I wouldn't have.
We always did that.
Everyone did it. And I ran out to the car, and I was like, oh, I can't get in the car because the keys aren't on my waist, and I'm not in my hand. I ran back in. They weren't hanging up. And I was like, where are my keys? I ran up to my room. I went up and down the stairs, redoing my steps like 100 times. I'm like, you just keep checking the same places because you don't know where else to look. I looked in my room. I looked in the key rack. I looked in my room. I looked in the kitchen counter. I looked on the table. I looked everywhere they would have normally been. And after running back and forth through the house like 5 times, when I was coming back down the stairs, like the 5th time, walking back through the kitchen to get to the key rack, they were sitting in the middle of the floor in the kitchen.
And I know.
And I would have heard them hit the floor.
Right.
It's impossible to not hear keys. My key thing hit the floor. Running that many times, they were just sitting. And I didn't see them in the other times. I would have stepped on them, sitting right in the middle of the floor. It was so scary because I knew someone put them there, and I was at the house alone.
And the ghost is male. He's young.
We think it's a boy.
I can see his face. I can see his picture.
You can picture him?
Yep.
How do you picture him?
I just had it. It just came one day. I think his first name is John, and he's 23 years old.
I thought it was younger than that.
I believe he died at that age. And then when we looked up all the house records, there was a young man named John who died at 23, and they called it brain fever. And I don't know if it was like meningitis or something, but it was in the 1860s. And he, I can see him. He wears like a light blue, like a denim button-down collared shirt and bluish pants. And I believe he's the ghost.
Wow.
I believe he's the ghost. And I was going to say that. Remember when Dad was downstairs or upstairs, and the bathroom faucets turned on on their own?
Oh, the downstairs sink. I forgot about
I think
that.
he said it was the bathroom sink.
Oh, upstairs?
Yeah, I think he said that turned on.
Oh, he was in the kitchen?
Yeah, and then remember when Seth was here, and he was here with, somebody that
His ex-girlfriend?
And loser. And
Mom.
I never liked her. I never approved, but no one listens to me. What do I know?
Well,
I'm an
she
idiot.
was a teenager.
And
What do you expect?
She was not a good fit. They were here alone in the house, and they were downstairs at the bottom or in the kitchen or somewhere, and they heard a huge crash upstairs in the bedroom, the small bedroom.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And they thought a bureau tipped over, and they ran up, and there was nothing out of place.
I remember that. I forgot. Yes, Seth heard a huge crash.
She, loser, ran out of the house, and Seth checked. But he probably went outside afterwards too. But she would not.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I forgot about that.
A big crash.
That's cool.
Yeah.
In the house.
But since we've restored the house, we don't remodel here. We restore. We bring it back to what it was, as close to what we can in 1864.
Thank you, Dragon.
This poor kid's not going to have any money left.
I know.
No more donations from you.
Send Ghost Mom all my love and keep up the great content. Thank you for watching.
Go to work and make some money because you can't pay for your car anymore. What was her name?
Someone else saw something happen. What was the story, everyone? I don't remember what she was saying.
I don't know either.
After the crash, you were saying another story. What was the last story? Can everyone remind us?
The bureau crashed and then...
Oh, you remodel. You don't...
Oh, we remodel. So because of that...
You don't remodel, you restore.
We restore. Thank you very much. Because of that, we feel we've pulled all the floors up because it was all hardwood flooring, and underneath is all the flooring that was originally here. So we would go to the paint store to buy paint for the floor that was under the other floor and pick out a color. And what would happen? We'd pull up that flooring, and guess what color was already underneath the floor? The color we picked at the paint store.
Whoa.
Every color we've picked in this house is already been here. So because we've brought it back to what it was, we think the ghost is very happy, the ghost is very content, and there was a lot of activity when we were pulling things out and bringing things back. But now we think the ghost thinks, oh, this is exactly what it's supposed to look like. This looks wonderful. And we don't hear a lot
The
of
ghost is at peace
anymore.
now, maybe.
Yeah.
I
so
wish the ghost would do
kind of a pain in the neck.
something.
However, Grandmother Barnett, your father's mother, came through here one day with sacred hot metals and holy water, and she was like, dee-dee. Like, go on to the light. I'm like, no way, Jose. I've been waiting all my life for a ghost.
Well, the
in
ghost
house,
is probably
and
happy.
Now we don't know if the ghost has gone to heaven or if the ghost is just being quiet because he loves the house so much.
Might be a little bit of both.
Thank you for nothing, Mrs. My mother-in-law, Ruthie Barnett.
Well, the ghost is probably happy at least.
Yeah, probably, but I'm not.
My mom's not. My
I
mom wants
want
the ghost.
My ghost active. I yell out, "Where's my ghost? Come on! I need some activity." Nothing. So.
Oh, wow.
You want to read a story?
Well, it's 10 o'clock now.
Oh.
I only wanted to do it for 2
Well,
hours.
it's 10 of. You can read something short.
It's still time.
The Blue Rock.
All right, I'll read one more story.
The Blue Rock.
Ghost Mom can read the chat with
Oh,
her
the chat.
bonnet. She's wearing her special bonnet for this special occasion for you, everybody.
The Wraith in the Storm.
Do you know what another good one is?
I don't know. Boston, Mass. You want a short one?
Sure. I don't know why
I've
my
only got 10 minutes.
why does
so.
my throat hurt so much. You think I got
Better
something
not
from the
be
kids?
sick because I'm not getting
As soon as I started reading the stories, my throat
This
started
one
hurting. I
is
can't even
just-
swallow.
This one is just, it's probably because you're talking too much.
I think because the kids were climbing all over me today.
Oh, they're not sick though.
They might. Kids always
No,
are
they're
sick.
not sick. I've been with kids for 2 weeks. I'm fine.
But Liz's kids.
The Wraith in the Storm, Boston, Massachusetts. Can you read that?
Yeah.
Are you able to?
I truly feel like I have a cold. I should have some
Well,
vitamin C.
stay away from me. I can't be sick.
I need to have some vitamin C.
I have tons of vitamin C. It's only a few pages.
Yeah,
Just a
right. This
couple of
is
pages.
called The
You
Wraith
want some more
in
water?
the Storm. I like stormy.
You want the water?
Yeah, sure.
I'll get you some water.
Can you get some vitamin C too?
Yeah.
I like storm stories and ocean stories because my new character after the UFO series begins will be a seaman. That man down by the docks. That's what I'm gonna play, and I'm looking forward to it. So I'm studying up on these ghost stories to get some acting chops under my belt. All right, here we go. This is called The Wraith in the Storm, Boston, Massachusetts.
You know what a wraith is?
A wraith is a spirit.
No, a wraith is this very emaciated, thin person.
Really?
Yes.
I also thought the wraith was a spirit.
No.
They say you gotta get the wraith. The spirit's gonna get you. I cannot see the chat right now. Sorry, everyone. I'm just gonna read. The ghost mom is not reading the chat. Here we go. And the name is Tom, of course. Again, they're always named Tom. The name of the ghost dad. All right. Tom was just about the most promising child a parent could wish for, at least to hear his parents tell it. They were getting older now and only had 2 children left at home, Tom and their youngest, a bright-eyed maiden named Jane. Tom was an intelligent lad by anyone's reckoning. By the age of 21, he was is the first mate on the Argonaut. His folks were bursting with pride one day when he set sail for Calcutta, out of Boston Harbor. It's all, oh, you know, chewable? I
No,
love chewable.
I don't have any.
It's more fun to eat.
This is echinacea, and I'm gonna see.
It's rolling away. Haunted vitamins.
Running away.
This would have been the spooky stopwatch. Spooky pocket watch. Taking my vitamins. Hang on a second. Vitamin break. Great. Now I'm healthy. Thank you everyone who's donated tonight. This has been a very overwhelming night. Many donations, many thumbs up. Thank you so much. I will check the direct donations later and know that I will see your name and that I love you. Thank you. And I will be giving half of this money to my mom. So we will split it for supplying this set. And for my mom giving a tour and reading the stories. We'll probably go. We're going to Cape Cod tomorrow, our favorite place. We're leaving really early in the morning. So I will buy my parents lunch as well. So thank you very much, everyone. Here we go. It's the final story of the evening. Okay, I'm going to reread a couple of paragraphs. Where was I? Okay. His folks were bursting with pride one day when he set sail for Calcutta out of Boston Harbor. It was the 10th voyage of the Argonaut and Tom's first voyage as first mate. He couldn't wait to kiss his parents goodbye and get on board. They watched him shoulder his pack and stride down the walk, pausing at the gate to rumple the hair of his young sister before striding down the shore road to the harbor. Goodbye, Tom. Safe journey, the little girl piped. In her high treble waved her hand until he disappeared from view. Safe journey, echoed his mother. She was a little pale and holding back tears. Her husband, John, gave her hand a squeeze. Now, Mandy, he chided, God'll be with him. I know, she replied. I know, but there's something amiss, Father. I can feel it. What ye feel is chilly. Come in from the cold, Mandy. Yes, it's cold, Janie. She called to her youngest. Come in and get your cloak. The wind is chilly. Come in, Mama, Jane said, jumping off the fence and walking obediently up to the house. Remember, these are true stories. They're written like a story, so it's a little more entertaining to read. They sort of reenact everything. But these are based on actual stories from real people. So, keep that in mind. Come in, Mama, Jane said, jumping off the fence and walking obediently up to the house. The next day...
$304.
$304?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Thank you, everyone. I told them I'm taking you guys to lunch tomorrow. I'm splitting the money with my own
Oh, no,
mother.
no, you're gonna keep it, you need it.
Nah, I'll split it with you.
Yeah.
My own mother worked hard for this, and I think she should do her own ghost stories, and she always goes, no. But I told her last year, everyone would find her entertaining.
I'm gonna do a cooking show.
Is she going to do a cooking show?
19th century cooking.
19th century. My mom, I should tell you, was a better cook than Martha Stewart. She cooks, she gardens, she sews, she does it all. She builds, she scoops horse poop. She's done everything in her life. So I think she should have a YouTube channel. And she was also holding back, and she was maintaining her composure when she was up here. She's a wild lady.
I am not.
You are too. You're always farting and laughing at yourself and snorting and going crazy. So
I'll watch anything Nathan's mom
here we
shares.
Come on, Mama, said Jane.
Cooking show, yes,
Jane
cooking
said,
show.
jumping off the fence and walking obediently up to the house. The next day, a tremendous gale blew in from the east. The storm lasted for days, unrelenting in its fury. I knew it. I knew something was amiss, Amanda said over and over to John. Hush, Mandy, he said softly. Don't scare the girl. Little Jane stood at the window watching the giant waves crashing into the beach, eating away at the sand. Will Tom be all right, Mama? She asked gravely. We will pray for him, Janie, her father said, unable to lie to the child. She nodded and went back to watching the waves. They all kept watch day after day while the storm raged without ceasing. After
$1.
thank you for the $1. Hour after hour, Amanda knitted.
It's 10 o'clock. Deaf lecture.
Hour after hour, Amanda knitted socks and without ceasing, knitted socks and rocked back and forth in her rocking chair.
Yep.
While her husband read the family Bible, Jane played with her dolls and watched out the window. Surprisingly good for such an active little girl, the house shook with gust after gust of wind. The fire hissed and spat in the fireplace as rain made its way down the chimney. And the window grew so rain-streaked that Jane finally abandoned it for some blocks her father had carved for Tom long ago. On the fourth night of the gale, after Jane was tucked up asleep in her bed, Amanda sat with her knitting her in her lap, staring.
They're all telling you it's 10 o'clock. They're like, we love the bells, the cuckoos.
This is almost over.
Nathan should read in an accent.
On the fourth night of the gale, Jane was tucked up asleep in her bed. Amanda sat with her, knitting in her lap, staring into space. She rocked and rocked as the wind shook the house. The fire flared up. There's 100 clocks in this house.
Only 19.
There's only 19, sorry, not 100. Close. 20%.
Nathan's way more famous.
All right. She rocked and
It's
rocked.
still 10 o'clock, so
It's 10 o'clock all night in this house.
until it's 11.
And then by the time they're done, it's 10 o'clock again. The next one starts going. She rocked and rocked as the wind shook the house and the fire flared up every time a gust of wind came down the chimney. John kept looking at her over his spectacles. She started with their eyes. She stared. No, she started with their eyes when their eyes met and tried to knit a few more rows. Finally, she stood up and went to the window, still holding the knitting absently in her hand. Tommy, where ye be?
Oh.
She asked the darkness out the window. All at once, she drew back with a desperate cry. Before her horrified eyes was a shadowy procession coming up the shore road toward the house.
$2. Deflection.
Clocks are going off all night.
No, they go off on the hour.
It's been an hour. It's been 10 o'clock for the past 10 minutes.
They're all different.
They're all different. Should they all go
They're
off
all
the
a
same
minute
time?
off.
Oh, they're
No,
all a
we
minute
want
off.
them all to be different.
Oh, they set them off to go off differently. So you can hear every one.
Yeah, you don't want. Someone says still 10 o'clock.
It's still 10 o'clock. It's been 10 o'clock all night.
If you're trying to get younger, come here.
Thank you for the donations. So the mother cried out the window, Tommy, where ye be?
Where ye
Just
be?
then, a shadowy procession, which is a group of people, were coming up the shore road toward the house. 8 men were carrying a coffin on their shoulders as they moved solemnly through the gale. They paused before the front gate, and the lid of the coffin sprang open to reveal the body of Tom. He lay still in death, a smile of peace on his face. My God, Amanda cried. It's Tom in his coffin. The procession turned in at the gate. Amanda stumbled back from the window, dropping her knitting on the floor. They're bringing him up here to the house. She covered her face with her hands. Mandy, John said in alarm. Coming over to the window, he glanced out, but all he saw was darkness. I have so many chills. Oh my gosh, this is freaking me out. Mandy sat down. Sat down this minute. There's nothing out there. Tom's dead. I knew he is. I saw him, Amanda said, raising her face from her hands and looking into the husband's eyes. Mandy, said John, I don't know. There ain't no such thing as you're saying. There's nobody out there. No man in their right mind would be out there in this storm. So here's a picture of some guys carrying a coffin. Now it's going to be out of focus when I sit in the chair, so you're going to have to deal with it. Sorry, one more page.
Oh, someone just donated on your page.
Thank you for donating, everyone. You're unbelievably generous.
He's
This
on.
is-
You have 307.
Thank you for giving $307.
Yeah.
If you guys want to do the math, 70% of 307 is what I will get from YouTube. I'm not sure what people have donated directly. I think there's been a few. Thank you, everyone who has. I want to finish. the
Someone's
last
asking
paragraph.
if the ghost can help her find her ring.
What ring? Your ring? Did you lose a ring? Oh,
Someone lost
their
a ring, yeah.
You should ask the ghost.
No, you ask St. Anthony.
Ask St. Anthony, and it helps you find things. Okay. 'Tweren't men out there, John. It were ghosts or maybe spirits, Amanda said. They came to let me know our boy is dead, so we'd know John and not just think he was missing. Like poor old Sarah, still waiting for her missing boy after 20 years.
Somebody else
Amanda,
just donated to your other site.
thank you for donating it to the
Alligator
correct.
skull.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Alligator. Thank you very, very much. Amanda was calmer now. She allowed John to push her into the rocker. Our boy came to say goodbye to us, she told John. Don't be making a fool of yourself, John said gruffly. Fear clutching at his throat, Mandy sounded so sure.
They're all turning on.
You will see, Amanda said, leaning back in her rocker and closing her eyes. Tears stole out from under her lids and dripped down
Wither
her cheeks.
Empire loves you.
You'll see. Thank you, Empire. Last sentence here. The news came a few weeks later. The Argonaut was missing. All hands were presumed dead.
Wow.
Tom was never heard from again.
Say.
That's scary.
Yeah, I told
The
you it was a
mom
good one.
Saw the image
Of her son.
of her son
Yeah.
in the coffin.
That happens.
That's horrifying. It happens to mothers who worry like crazy. How many times have you seen us dead? We're still here.
I see you dead, like in a ditch.
My mom always sees us dead in a ditch.
30
Never has that happened.
second, $5 US from Wesley Chapman.
Oh, thanks,
PayPal.
Chappie.
PayPal.
Thanks, Chappie. Thank you for donating. Well, these were spooky New England tales of hauntings, strange happenings, and other local lore. Thank you for watching the Grave Stories Special Edition from a haunted house. The haunted house I grew up in with my assistant, the spirit ghost mom. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all the donations. I get 70% of whatever that number says up top. If you all want to do the math, we all see what we've earned. Thank you for donating. I really appreciate
He
it.
says 219,
I know,
Chappie.
219
Chappie says
is what I
219 out of
get.
307.
Well, thank you. 219, that's pretty amazing for just sitting
I
here
already
reading some
missed Ghost
stories.
Mom.
And maybe Ghost Mom will do some more stories if we can convince her to do it, because she's reluctant to do it. And her spooky bonnet can come back.
They're all waving.
Thank you for watching, everybody. And I'll check all the direct donations.
Spirit Ghost Mom is a good channel
This is
name.
the only way I make money, so I appreciate you keeping me alive. Thank you.
Have an awesome night. Love you, Ghost.
Fingers
Love you all
crossed.
too, and support my son Nathan because he's going to pay off our house.
That's my plan. Somehow I have to figure out how to make a lot of money.
He
next
won't pay
year.
it off with $307, so get your butts in gear and let's get some money in here.
I don't think anyone watching has that much money. I got a plan. Next year I'm gonna pay their house off. We'll see if it works.
We try. You do an awesome job.
Well, thank you, everyone. You do more than enough.
Yeah.
You do too much. Thanks for watching.
Thank you. You'll be waiting
And now
a long time, Mrs.
we'll-
Barnett.
We'll end on a spooky picture
Oh, that's my grandparents.
of some
It's their anniversary, 100
dead
years ago today.
people.
100 years ago today. Marguerite
Very
and
nice,
James.
very nice dead people.
That's Nana's parents.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.